Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head across to Finland once again, and that of course means that we're going to have a look at yet another beer from Riku box number 1. So a massive shout out and thank you to Riku Sanaksanahu, who is one of my followers, and he just messaged me one day and asked if I wanted to sort out a Finnish beer box, because as I've told you before, Finnish beer is just pretty much impossible to get unless you're actually in Finland. So he arranged all of this, I sent him some money, and boof, the box arrived here in Sweden in about 3 days or something like that, and we have agreed that we'll do this regularly over the next couple of years and things, maybe 2 boxes a year or something like that. So Riku is officially my Finnish beer mule, and it's awesome to have subscribers like that. We've also got Davor down in Slovenia, we've got Chris Contreras of course in Belgium as well, so it's awesome to have subscribers that are helping me get a hold of, you know, random and really quite special beers and things like that. So yeah, it's one of the great things about doing this channel actually is you guys, the followers, as I've said before. But yeah, for this review then, we are going to introduce another Finnish brewery who I have never tried anything from before. So we're going to go to a little place called Seinajöki, which is just a little bit to the southeast of Vasa on the west coast of Finland, and we're going to have a look at my first beer from Mallaskoski. So this one is their Lingonberry Sour. It comes in at 5% ABV, and this is a brewery that Riku recommended to me, and this was a beer that I was just very curious about, because, you know, lingonberries are a very Nordic thing actually. You don't really find these in other countries, and I think this might well be the first Lingon sour that I've reviewed for you on the channel. I don't think I have reviewed any other ones like this before, so again, very curious to see how this one turns out, and I hope that you guys enjoy my take on this beer as well. Lingonberries, for those of you who don't know, they're almost like, they look a little bit like a blueberry, but obviously they're quite bright and red, and I think they are even a little bit smaller than that, but very sharp and very tart, but also quite nice and juicy, to be honest with you, but a very distinctive flavour actually. So really curious to see how this one turns out. But yeah, awesome to introduce you guys to another Finnish brewery, and I hope that you guys are enjoying this little Finnish mini-series as well, of course. So yeah, let's see how we get on with this one. 5% Lingonberry Sour from Mallaskoski in Seinajöki, near the west coast of Finland. So yeah, as always with my reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery before we taste the beer. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews that hopefully I can do in the future from Mallaskoski. Very first time I'm trying one of their beers, of course. There's all the usual social media down there as well. If you want to see more reviews, do please consider subscribing to the channel. The whole channel, of course, has a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city, county, state, province, prefecture, oblast, or whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlists of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Finnish beers that I've reviewed for you. That is being added to fairly regularly at the moment, and it will continue to be in the coming weeks, months and years and everything like that. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries that you guys would like to see me review. It's always great to hear from you guys that are watching the videos, and the support that you show the channel is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Mallaskoski then, on to my brewery notes. So as I've told you already, this brewery are from a little place called Seinajöki near Vasa on the west coast. And this area of Finland is called Ostrobothnia in English, but it's called Pohjanmaa in Finnish, if I've pronounced that correctly. I will apologise in advance for the bad Finnish pronunciations that will no doubt come up in this video. But this town apparently finds its roots in the iron and gunpowder industries, and today it is home to the Dudesons Activity Park. And this was a fact that I just thought was quite funny, because the Dudesons absolutely love blowing shit up, so I thought it was quite funny that it was based in a town where there used to be gunpowder factories and things like this. I thought that was really quite funny. But yeah, by the looks of the pictures, it seems to be a really quite nice looking little town actually, so maybe I can get there and visit it at some point in the future. Who knows? I do need to go and explore Finland a little bit more actually. But the history of this company actually traces back to 1921, when Johan Wallenius founded a brewery which was called Mallaskosken Tehat Oy. So this company ceased independent operations in the 1960s, and at that time it was producing the Kuohu beer, and this was being exported abroad as well. But when this independent operation ceased, the company ended up in the hands of Hartwall, who, if I remember correctly, produced Lapin Kulta, and they eventually shut down the operations in Seinajöki. So the new brewery then, this new incarnation of the company was founded in 1997 with production beginning in 1999, and it was founded on the same site as the original Mallaskoski brewery, and kind of miraculously, kind of just randomly, they managed to get a hold of the original yeast that was used in the original Mallaskoski beers from the Department of Biotechnology at the University of Helsinki. So these beers in a way are almost the authentic ones. You know, they've got original yeast strains, and I think all the other yeasts and stuff that they've used, they've bred from this original one, which is pretty cool. But in 2009, the Mallaskoski company was acquired by Capital Investment, which is the parent company of another one called Servali, who import alcohol into Finland, and they are now the ones responsible for the daily running of the Mallaskoski company. But the current brewmaster at the brewery is Yrjö Ojaloma, if I'm pronouncing that correctly again, but he learned to brew under the guidance of Juhani Wallenius, who is the grandson of Johan Wallenius, the original owner of the original Mallaskoski company. But as of June 2020, when I'm making this review for you, these guys have produced around 55 different kinds of beer, some under the Kauha name, of course, the rest of them are under the Mallaskoski name. There's a few different series in there. I think there was the Barrel Age series, the Black series, I think the Summer series as well, and I think there was one or two others. So they've got quite a few different series of beer that they do, but they also produce a few different ciders, some energy drinks, and they also produce something as well called a tentacle, which apparently is a Finnish long drink, and it's made from gin and grapefruit, and it was something that I had never heard of before. When I was doing the research on this brewery and looking at the Mallaskoski Wikipedia and did the translate, it just said tentacle, and I was like, you know, that's got to be Google Translate doing something crazy with Finnish, because Finnish is, you know, a ridiculously complex language from, I think, both a vocabulary and from a a grammatical point of view. It's a very, very complicated language, but no, apparently that is what it's called. It's called a tentacle, and it's a gin and grapefruit based drink in Finland. So yeah, who knew? Learning new things about Finland all the time, actually, which is pretty damn cool. So yeah, that's all I can really tell you about Mallaskoski for the moment. If you want to learn more, of course, you can check out the brewery website. There's some really nice photos and things on there of the original brewery, lots of black and white things with the old trucks and stuff like that, which is pretty interesting. And yeah, this one I think should be a very, very interesting beer for us to try. So yeah, check out the brewery website in the description below. You can follow them on Facebook and Instagram to keep up to date with all the latest goings on, and you can check out the Rate Beer, Untappd and Beer Advocate pages to learn more about all those different beers that they've done. 55 different varieties, as I said before. So yeah, let's get this guy out then, and we'll get on with the tasting. I'll just let you have a little quick look at the artwork of this one before we open it up. Quite an unusual shaped bottle, of course, I would say here. There you can see the Mallaskoski symbol on this one, which is, you know, it actually kind of reminds me a lot of some of the symbols you'd find on the old German and Czech and Belgian, well, mainly German and Czech beers, to be honest with you. It's got a little bit of a kind of Germanic quality to it, the kind of symbol on this one, of course. I do like it that it's got the kind of, you know, the grain husks and stuff around it on the outside. That's pretty damn cool. But yeah, Mallaskoski. But yeah, established 1921, because it is kind of a return of the company. There you can see the little Lingons just chilling on the side here as well. But this one is a 5% Lingonberry sour. It's got Pils wheat and Munich malts in it, so it should have quite a nice bready base to it, but at the same time remain quite crisp. And the hops in this one are Perl and Nelson Sauvin. So Perl, of course, is a German hop it's almost just like a little bit of a stronger version of the Hallertau and Tettnanger. The normal Hallertau and Tettnangers, I think, tend to be between 4.5 and 5.5% alpha acid. Perl, I think, comes in at around 6.5, if I'm remembering correctly. And Nelson Sauvin, of course, is that, you know, very famous New Zealand hop that has, you know, it can be about 16% alpha acid, I think, at its highest, and it gives you that lovely kind of green, grapey type flavour. But it says on the back here, Mallaskoski Brewery was born in 1921 when Johan Wallenius first bottled the essence of the rural north. The purest water and craftsmanship, hardly any sun, even less small talk. So yeah, it's kind of ironic when I've taken you through a whole history of the brewery and things like that there. But I do think it's quite cool that Yrjö Ojaloma was trained by Juhani Wallenius, his grandson. So it's kind of cool that this reincarnation of the company, you know, they've got the original yeast and they've got a brewmaster who's trained by one of the descendants of the original family and stuff like that. So that's pretty damn cool. But yeah, just a plain gold bottle cap on this one. So without further ado, let's get this guy out and we will get on with the tasting. I'm really curious to see what this beer has in store for us. A few bubbles and stuff coming out, but it's not going to go too crazy. There we go. You just always have to be careful with these beers sometimes. I don't know if this one has been bottle fermented, but we'll just be a little bit careful on the pour with this one. And there we go. I think this one, by the looks of it, has been bottle conditioned, because there is a bit of sediment and stuff in there, so it has been bottle conditioned as well. But yeah, it looks very, very nice, this one. So yeah, let's have a little look at this beer properly. And as I told you at the start of the video, 5% Lingonberry. Sour lingonberries, of course, they look a little bit like blueberries, but they are, you know, pretty much, it's a Nordic thing really, these ones. They're little red berries that are very, very sharp, tart, but also really nice and juicy at the same time actually. So yeah, they're interesting. As you can see with this beer, it's poured, it actually looks like one of these kind of Berliner Weisses or something like that. That's very, very impressive actually. So the wheat, I guess, will be giving this one quite a lot of, you know, it will be giving it quite a lot of haziness actually. You can see there's a solid finger of head on this beer. I think if it wasn't for the lingonberries in the beer, it would be a perfect white head, but it does have a little bit of a kind of pinkish tinge to it. It's like a pinky kind of creamy colour. One or two big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, quite a few little ones going up towards the bottom of the head there, but I mean overall it does look pretty damn nice actually. I like how this one, I do like how this beer goes together. I'm just surprised that it's so kind of cloudy in fairness, but then again, when it does have wheat in it, as I say, you would expect it to be quite hazy like this. This one actually comes across like a sort of fruited Berliner Weisse in terms of its colour and things. So yeah, in some ways a bit surprising its appearance because of the haziness, but in terms of colour and things like that, it is pretty much what you would expect. If I put my fingers behind the glass, as you can see, this one has, you know, very little opacity to it. It's not very transparent at all. So yeah, let's have a closer look at the aroma of this one then and just see how we get on. Yeah, so straight away with this one, first impression is that it is quite a grassy smelling beer. You can definitely pick up some of the nice white bready and kind of wheaty aspects to the malt base. I really like that about this one. So yeah, lovely kind of white bready wheaty sort of thing coming out of this one. Other than that, the malt base comes across as, you know, fairly kind of straight up. The Munich malts are also going to give you a nice bit of a white bready quality. They're kind of going to just make the beer even smoother, to be honest. So you can pick out a little bit of the almost astringency, bitey character of the wheat, but at the same time, the Munich malts I think come out a little bit more. To be honest with you, I think the Munich malts are a bit more kind of predominant in the aroma here than the wheat malts. So yeah, it's going to be interesting how that kind of translates into the flavour. But yeah, the malt base is pretty much just a kind of straight up white bread, but it doesn't give you some of those kind of stronger wheaty notes, you know, those sort of banana-y, clovey sort of things that you will normally get out of a Berliner Weisse. So it is more like a kind of bready beer. It really actually has a few kind of Helles, German Helles qualities to it actually, which isn't surprising when it's using Munich malts, of course. Yeah, I'm having to sniff with my left nostril today because the right one, I've just had a shower, so my right nostril is a bit blocked, which is annoying. But yeah, the aroma from this one, I have to say, I really like that. This is a really very interesting. I've not come across a sour that has an aroma like this before, with, you know, such an almost Hellesy type malt base to it. So I like that. You almost get the impression of a little bit of a biscuity quality coming out of it. And it's a strange thing to say, but you can smell the crispness from the Pilsner malt in this. Pilsner malt, it's one of these things, the aroma is just, it's very distinctive. You can smell just the crispness of it straight away. It's not really giving you like a kind of bready note or a biscuity note or anything like that, but you can really it just affects the aroma and makes the malt smell very crisp, if that makes sense. So yeah, there's the malt base in this one I think is really interesting. On the hoppy side of things, it's mainly grassy. I mean, for me it's mainly the pearl, I think, that I'm getting out of this. So it's got that lovely kind of bright, grassy kind of quality that you'd expect of a German noble hop. There is a wee hint of a kind of floral note in there as well, and a very, very light sort of earthiness, but the light earthiness kind of, it could mix in with that little bit of a biscuity note that I was talking about earlier. But yeah, with the wheat, when it's Pils wheat and yeah, when it's Pils, wheat and Munich malts in here, you're not going to get too much of that sweetness. So it does have just that very light, earthy quality to it. But the Lingonberries, I think, they're coming across as very juicy. They're not overly sharp and tart in the aroma. It really comes across as more kind of smooth and juicy to me in the aroma, to be honest with you. So yeah, you've got a little bit of that sharp, ready tartness. It's almost, you know, Lingonberry for me, it's almost like a kind of combination of like cranberry, but with a little bit more of the kind of raspberry type tartness, and also a little bit of a kind of strawberry-ish juiciness to it as well. It's difficult to describe Lingonberries. They are a very, very unique flavour, much in the same way that the likes of cloudberries or sea buckthorn are. So yeah, that's an interesting point to make about this one. The other beer that I really need to try in this category as well is the ones from the Spontan series that Mikkeller do. That's the, you know, the Spontan Lingons. I really need to have a go at some of those, because those are beautiful, beautiful beers, at least in my experience. The triple raspberry that I had at the Sour Beer Festival was awesome. So yeah, this is a lovely, lovely smelling beer, this. I like the kind of juiciness of the fruits and things. I don't get too much of the kind of white, green, grapey thing that you should get from the Nelson Sauvin, so maybe that will come out a little bit in the flavour of this beer, who knows. But yeah, take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of this one then before you get stuck into it. But we're going to have a taste of this one now and see how we get on then. This one is the Lingonberry Sour, coming in at 5% ABV from Mallaskoski in Seinajöki in Pohjanmaa. The Pohjanmaa county, I guess you could say, in western Finland. Let's get stuck into this one. Thank you again to Riku for making this review possible. Slanja, skål, kipis. That's pretty nice, actually. Yeah. It's really got a bit of a puckering quality to it when you take it in. Now, as I've always said with sour beers, pardon me, took a little bit of that down the wrong way, but when it comes to sour beers, for me, these are not the most complex beer styles in terms of their flavour profile and things like that. It's all about how they make the transition from being, you know, really sharp and puckering in the beginning to giving you a nice smoothness and kind of fruity juiciness in the aftertaste. That's how you make a good sour, in my opinion. And I think this one is pretty nice, actually. This comes across as quite different compared to a lot of other ones. That it's you know, it comes across as quite differently to a lot of the other sour beers that I've come across before. So it's quite a quirky one, this, I have to say. It's a little bit different, and it needs a little bit of thought, I think, to fully describe it. So yeah, when you take this in, straight away on the first thing you get a really sharp puckering, just Lingon hit out of this one. And you know, it's like it's almost got the kind of dark, it's almost like the beer, the sourness that you get with this has a little bit of that darkness that grapefruit has, but it's really got more, you know, the cherries, it's really got a little bit of, it's a red fruity quality obviously, but yeah, it's got a little bit of the darkness of grapefruit, but it's got a kind of brighter cherry sort of, you know, kind of cherry, cranberry, strawberry, and you know, kind of raspberry-ish mix about it. So it's if you combine all these flavours together, the cherry, the raspberry, you know, the cherry, the raspberry, the strawberry, and the cranberry things, if you combine all those flavours together, but then give them this kind of dark vibe that you would expect of a grapefruit, I think that's maybe a good way to describe the sort of flavour you get out of Lingons. And you know, other Lingon things that I've had before have been a little bit brighter than this, I have to say. This one strikes me as being a little bit darker and sour in terms of it. I think it said on the website that the Lingonberries that they got for this one, they come from the east of Finland, and Lingonberries, you know, different soils and stuff like that can influence you know, hops that you grow, fruits that you grow, and everything. The different minerals in the soil and things like that can really influence the flavours of food. So maybe these are a particularly sour variety of Lingonberries. Who knows? Didn't say exactly what Lingon, if there was a specific type of Lingon or something like that. I'm assuming there's lots of different types, but yeah, as I say, different things grown in different places can give you different flavours, really. So yeah, I do like how that kind of comes together, to be honest with you. Yeah, so in terms of the kind of sharp hit on this one that you get in the beginning, straight away it's quite nice. The rest of the beer, it's actually very kind of simple, to be honest with you, and I like how it goes together. You know, the middle third of your palate and the back third of your palate, you get that big kind of white bready quality there. If you go towards the back third of your tongue, that's when you get a bit of the kind of wheaty bitiness out of the beer. There is a little bit of that, but the middle of your palate is pretty much you know, a kind of white bready sort of wheaty thing, and then you've also got a bit of that Pilsner. If you go to the middle of your palate, then go further back, you've also got that kind of Pilsner kind of crispness coming out of the beer as well. You can feel that sort of evolving in the middle of the palate as you go further into it as well. But on the very centre of the tongue, I think you start to get a wee bit of an almost biscuity impression out of this beer, which is kind of interesting the further that you go into it as well. So I do like that about how this one goes together. That's a pretty interesting combination of things that's going on with this one. So yeah, I like what the I do like what they've done with this one. It's definitely more of a kind of bready sour beer, this one, rather than anything else, which isn't quite what I expected. It's not, obviously it's got a bit of wheat in it and things, but it's most definitely not a Berliner Weisse, that's for sure. And I will say, you know, if you haven't tried Lingon before, this beer probably is a little bit of an acquired taste, you know. It's one of these ones that you have to, because I mean, I'm still not fully used to Lingon yet, but I can tell you this is one of these beers that maybe I don't appreciate fully at the moment, but I think I could really like it if I had had it a couple of times. The Lingon, as I say, Lingon, I quite like it, but as I say, it's just a flavour that I'm not used to. It's like when I first came to Sweden, I wasn't a great fan of licorice, but now, you know, I really enjoy a bit of licorice, I have to say. So yeah, it's one of these kind of things, unless you're used to this flavour and you kind of grow up with it, it's one of these ones that it takes you a little bit of time to get used to. But I like it, I do like this one, and you can tell from this beer, it is a really well done sour beer actually. So yeah, I need to try a few more. They've got a blackberry sour actually, I saw on the website. Maybe that would have been a better one to kind of start with, but I hadn't tried a Lingonberry sour, and that was the main reason why I wanted to go for this one. So yeah, it's a nice, as I say, it's a nicely done beer, but just be aware the fruitiness in this is a little bit unusual for people who are not from the Nordic countries, are not used to this flavour, I would say. But yeah, the malt base I think thickens up a little bit the further that you go into the aftertaste as well. But let's look at the hoppy side of the beer then. So back corners of the palate, you have got a little touch of earthiness there. As you come further forward along the side of the tongue, you can feel that just kind of, it just sort of smoothens out a little bit, and then you get some of the nice kind of bright floral notes there on the front corners of the palate. Then as you go round the front curve of the tongue, you can feel there is a little bit of a lighter sort of grassy note to this one as well, which is quite nice. You can feel that. But the thing that always happens is when you add fruit into the beer, it always suppresses a little bit of the green side of the IBUs. So you know, the Lingons are pushing back against the sort of grassy part of the beer around the front curve of your tongue. But there is a fairly little, you know, there is a fair little bit of there is a fair wee bit of that kind of typical German grassy noble kind of thing out of this one coming from the pearl. And the Nelson Sauvin, I think, has given the beer just a little bit of bitterness as well. I forgot to turn my sound off on the computer beforehand, but yeah. But yeah, that is nicely done, I have to say. I like this. The fruity side of the beer is what we should focus on now, but yeah, the hoppy side of things, again, is pretty much what you'd expect from a typically German noble hop beer. But yeah, on the you know, on that fruity side of things, the front third of your tongue is where you're getting the nice kind of sourness and the juicy fruits and stuff like this out of it. So yeah, for me, in fairness, the further that you go into the aftertaste, you can get a little bit of that kind of white, green, grapey sort of thing from the Nelson Sauvin, but it really comes out quite far into the aftertaste. As I said to you, the whole kind of front part of your tongue, if you go to the very back of that front third of your tongue, there is a little bit of a kind of juicy, figgy sort of thing there, but for the most part, the front part of your tongue, it's that whole flavour that I was talking about. You know, it's got a bit of the darker kind of cherry to it, it's got a bit of, like, you know, it's got a little bit of the cranberry flavour. yeah, if you combine cherries, you combine cranberries, raspberries and strawberries, if you combine all of that up and then give it the sort of darkness and sourness that you would get from the likes of grapefruit or something, that's the sort of flavour that the Lingon berries are really giving this beer. It's a difficult one to describe. You know, get some Lingon jam or Lingon sylt, as we would say in Sweden. Get some of that and just taste it for yourself. But it is pretty damn nice, this one. But I do find these Lingonberries, in particular these ones that are in this from eastern Finland, if they are still from eastern Finland, right enough, they are pretty dark and, you know, pretty sour ones actually, so it suits the beer quite nicely. But yeah, definitely one of the more bready sours that I've had, not in the sense of a Berliner Weisse. It's not really wheaty and smooth and sweet in that sense. It's more kind of light and bready. It's almost a little bit, the breadiness you get out of this is almost like a little bit like a kind of Helles beer or something like that. But when there's Munich and Pilsner malts in there, as I say, that's something that you would definitely expect of it, to be honest with you. So yeah, an interesting sour, this one, quite different from a lot of the other ones that I've tried recently. So yeah, have a go at this one for yourself and just see what you think. But definitely one of the darker fruity sours that I've come across before. It's really got the berries in this one are really some of the most sour, I think, that I've come across, but not sour in the kind of tart, from the tart perspective, yeah, because obviously there is a difference between tartness and sourness, I think. So yeah, it does have a wee bit of tartness to it, and you get more of that. The further you go into the aftertaste with this one, the beer does start to juicen up a little bit, but the darker, almost the kind of grapefruity type sourness that you get out of this one, or the grapefruity vibey sourness that you get out of this, is quite interesting. So yeah, that's a very, very interesting combination of things in there. In terms of the mouthfeel of this one then, what would I say about this? I think it's fairly mid-bodied. Yeah, fairly mid-bodied. The carbonation is, you know, the carbonation is very, very smooth in this one. It does, the Pilsner malt does give it a little bit of crispness, in fairness, but I would describe this as one of the kind of smoother and thicker bready sours that I've come across in recent times. It does have a good level of sourness to it. There is a little bit of tartness in there, but I mean overall it is quite it's a very interesting one, this. It's got a little bit of wetness and cleanliness to it, but yeah, quite a smooth, thick and bready type sour, to be honest with you. So I like how that goes together in this particular beer. In terms of the bitterness and things like that in this beer, I think, you know, your bitterness is very, very low. You're talking less than you know, 50. I think you're talking just about 15-20 IBUs, something like this, if that. The malt base is very, very smooth. It does thicken up as you go further into the aftertaste. A little bit of biscuity sweetness in the middle of the tongue too, and the fruitiness, it has a bit of juiciness to it, but quite a lot of a kind of sour quality, and just a little touch of tartness as well. So that's a really interesting point to make about this particular beer. So yeah, a really, really kind of quirky one, I think, but I have enjoyed reviewing this one for you, and it's definitely something different compared to the other sours and stuff that I've had recently as well. But there are some other interesting sour beers coming in this Finnish mini-series over the next little while as well. So yeah, this was a really cool one to review, and I think probably the quirkiest of the mini-series so far, actually. So wonder what the other ones will have in store for us. So yeah, let's leave it at that for this one. This one was the Lingonberry Sour at 5% ABV from Mallaskoski in Seinajöki in Pohjanmaa county in the west of Finland. Kind of about, looks like it's about a third of the way up the whole length of the country. So yeah, really interesting beer, this one, and I do hope that I can try a few other Mallaskoski beers over the next little while. They've got a whole German series of beers there, you know, like a Pils and a Bock and things like that. It'd be cool to try something from that part of the range next. But yeah, an interesting brewery, this one, and this is definitely one of the quirkier beers I've had from the Finnish mini-series so far. So yeah, once again, huge thank you to Riku for making this review possible. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Let me know what your favourite beers are from Mallaskoski as well, and we will no doubt return to these guys at some point in the near future. Until the next time, Slanja just now, and I'll catch you guys later. The Lingonberry Sour at 5% ABV from Mallaskoski in Seinajöki, Pohjanmaa County over in Finland. Slanja, skål, kippis, and thanks for watching.